Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Could we please stand for a pledge to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. For the record, this is a public meeting of the Bayonne Board of Education. It is 7:40 p.m., the 25th day of April. We are convening in the Anna J. Herbert Meeting Room. The presiding officer is Joseph Broderick, President of the Bayonne Board of Education. Those in attendance include Dr. Michael Wanko, Superintendent of Schools, Mr. Kenneth Kopaz, Assistant Superintendent for Personnel, Dr. Gary Maida, Board Secretary, Mr. Leo J. Smith, Jr., Assistant Superintendent for Business, Dr. Dennis Degnan, Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction, and Mitchell Pasquale, our Board Counsel. The meeting's open to the public. I will start with a roll call. Trustee Alonso.
Present.
Trustee Cruden.
Present.
Trustee Desmond.
Here.
Trustee Finnerty.
Here.
Trustee Munoz.
Here.
Trustee Ryan.
Here.
Trustee Villado.
Here.
Vice President Wilbeck.
Here.
And President Broderick.
Here. For the record, adequate written advance notice of at least 48 hours, given the time, date, and location of this meeting with the agenda, was provided as follows. Notice was prominently posted in City Hall at 630 Avenue C on the bulletin board reserved for such announcements of the Board of Education. The Board Secretary sent such notice to the Jersey Journal and the Bayonne Community News. Notice was filed with the Municipal Clerk of the City of Bayonne, Mr. Robert F. Sloan. Thank you.
We will start on our agenda. We'll start with an approval of minutes and acceptance of our communications. Is there a motion?
I move.
And is there a second?
I'll second.
So we have a motion and a second on the resolution to accept minutes and communications. Trustee Alonso.
Aye.
Trustee Cruden.
Aye.
Trustee Desmond.
Yes.
Trustee Finnerty.
Yes.
Trustee Munoz.
Yes.
Trustee Ryan.
Yes.
Trustee Villado.
Yes.
Vice President Wilbeck.
Yes.
President Broderick.
Yes.
Next up is we have a commendation, which I will read into the record. Whereas Mr. Wexler's Bayonne High School Model UN students have brought honor and distinction to Bayonne High School in the city of Bayonne by earning the Award of Excellence at the National High School Model UN Conference in New York City, March 2nd to the 5th, 2018. Whereas Mr. Wexler's Bayonne High School Model UN students have brought honor and distinction to Bayonne High School and the city of Bayonne by performing better at the National High School Model UN Conference in New York City than any other second-year school since 1996. Whereas Bayonne High School Model UN students Tenyana Aponte, Ashley Caleb, Jared Chimento, Jesse Morcos, Stephanie Peters, and Caitlin Sikaran have brought honor and distinction to Bayonne High School in the city of Bayonne by receiving the Best Delegates Award at the National High School Model UN Conference in New York City, March 2nd to the 5th, 2018. Whereas the Board of Education wishes to recognize the outstanding achievements of social studies teacher Mr. Evan Wexler for his tireless efforts to build, to support, and guide his Model UN Club to new heights. Whereas the Board of Education wishes to recognize the Bayonne High School Model UN students for going above and beyond by spending countless hours preparing for the National High School Model UN Conference in New York City. Be it hereby resolved that this Board of Education wishes its heartfelt congratulations to a social studies teacher, Mr. Evan Wexler, and his Model UN students for their outstanding performance at the National High School UN Conference in New York City, and this is by the Committee of the Whole. Could the students please come up?
That way.
Yes, all
Come
the way
on
up.
up. If you'd like, why don't you, some of you could sit. Actually, all of you could sit, and then we'll take a nice photo.
Sit right there, you just gotta answer the question.
Wait, do you want to stay here?
No, you're fine.
Do you want to stand behind your chair?
There's a gavel.
It's like she's trying to avoid the big chair.
Folks, I think we have to kind of,
There's a chair down here if you want.
Sky, there's one. You want to sit here?
There's a gavel right there. This is anxiety. I'm just taking a picture.
This is probably the most productive UN group that ever came.
Wait, where are we looking?
Their phone.
Congratulations.
We got a job.
maybe they can help with negotiating.
Mother taught him everything he knows.
Yes.
And I was just going to say, this would be a great time if the students would like to leave,
See, they're smarter than we even thought.
Keep my hand in.
but,
They're one step ahead of us. That's why they're the
that's
most.
why,
Yeah, really tight.
that's why they're so
Should have clicked days. What an- How old is he to accomplish that already?
At this time, we'll move to our consent agenda. We'll start with the first portion, A, curriculum, instruction, and policy. Our committee did meet and went over resolutions at the committee meeting and also at the open workshop. So for curriculum, do I have a motion,
I will motion.
and do I have a second?
I will second.
So I have a motion and second on the curriculum agenda. On that motion and second, trustee Alonso,
Aye.
trustee Cruden,
Aye.
trustee Desmond,
Yes.
trustee Finerty,
Yes.
trustee Munoz,
Yes.
trustee Ryan,
Yes.
trustee Villado,
Yes.
vice president Wilbeck,
Yes.
president Broderick.
I'd like to just state that, just want to give a lot of credit to the committees, that being personnel, curriculum, and finance. Everybody's been working extremely hard this year, harder probably than we've worked in the past, but I think when we get to this point, the hard work shows when we get to these meetings a little better. So, yes.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is our finance, building and grounds, section B, resolutions B1 to B13. Do I have a motion,
I move.
and do I have a second?
I'll second.
So I have a motion and a second on the agenda. Trustee Alonso,
Aye.
trustee Cruden,
Yes.
trustee Desmond,
Yes.
trustee Finerty,
Yes.
trustee Munoz,
Yes.
trustee Ryan,
Yes.
trustee Villado,
Yes.
vice president Wilbeck,
Yes.
president Broderick.
Yes.
Next up will be our personnel agenda. Resolution C11 is going to be moved to non-consent. So we'll be dealing with C1 to C13. C11 is being moved to non-consent. Do I have a motion,
I motion.
and do I have a second?
I second.
I have a motion and a second on the personnel agenda. Trustee Alonso,
Aye.
trustee Cruden,
Yes.
trustee Desmond,
Yes.
trustee Finerty,
Yes.
Trustee Munoz,
Yes.
Trustee Ryan,
Yes.
Trustee Villado,
Yes.
Vice President Wilbeck,
Yes.
and President Broderick.
Yes.
If the board would
On one note, may I make?
go ahead while I'm doing something.
Yeah, well,
Thank you.
do something. I just want to recognize Mrs. Bob Barrow in the audience tonight. We received your letter of retirement, and I'm thinking between you and your husband Joseph, there are 53 years of service to our district. I'd like to thank you very, very much.
That's because.
I don't think there are any
Miss-
other retirees.
Well,
in the
Mrs.
audience.
Barbero started when she was 13, so.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is our non-consent agenda. I'll start with C11. Whereas the superintendent of schools hereby recommends the reappointment of teachers on the following list from September 1st, 2018 through June 30th, 2019. Whereas these teachers do not have tenure of office at the present time, are recommended by their school principal. Now, therefore, be it resolved, contracts must be executed by personnel involved and proper officers of this board and approved as to form by board council. This is Resolution C11. All our resolutions are up on the bulletin board. It is a 3-page resolution with a list of, I believe there were 180 teachers. And do I have a motion?
I motion.
And do I have a second?
I second.
So I have a motion and a second on C11. Trustee Alonso.
I abstain.
Trustee Cruden.
Yes.
Trustee Desmond.
I'm happy they all made it this far, but I must abstain.
Okay. Trustee Finerty.
Yes.
Trustee Munoz.
Yes.
Trustee Ryan.
Yes.
Trustee Villado.
Yes.
Vice President Wilbeck.
Yes.
President Broderick.
I'd just like to say that I want to give credit to the administrators in the district with what they've done as far as observations and evaluations. I think this group has been looked at probably better than any group in the past and do their diligent work, so I say yes.
Next up is Resolution D1, approval to adopt the 2018-19 school year tentative budget. Whereas the Bayonne Board of Education tentative budget for the school year 2018-19 includes sufficient funds to provide curriculum and instruction, which will enable all students to achieve the Common Core state standards and the New Jersey Core curriculum content standards in compliance with NJSA 18A, NJAC Title VI and 6A. Whereas there's a need for a tax levy cap adjustment using part of the current year adjustment for increase in health care costs to be included in the base budget for the 2018-19 school year, utilizing of the amount of $576,497 allowed for such purpose. Whereas the 2018-19 budget guidelines requires the board to formally adopt a resolution when using tax levy cap adjustments, including use of the health care cost adjustment in the 2018-19 budget. Whereas the district is going above the 2% tax levy cap of $67,735,806, with the tax levy cap adjustment for increase in health care costs of $576,497 for the 2018-19 school tax levy of $68,312,303. Therefore, be it resolved that the Bayonne Board of Education amends and adopts the following tentative budget for the 2018-19 school year. Be it further resolved that the superintendent and the assistant superintendent for business, school business administrator are hereby directed to establish the budget for the school year 2018-19 and submit the said budget to the interim executive county superintendent and provide the certificate and report of school taxes, the A4F, for the 2018-19 school year to the City of Bayonne Clerk and the Hudson County Board of Taxation by May 21st, 2018. And this is Resolution D1. It is on our backboard. Is there a motion?
I move.
And is there a second?
I'll second.
So we have a motion and a second on Resolution D1. Not hearing any questions. Trustee Alonso?
I think we could have done things a lot different with this budget, so I vote no.
Trustee Cruden?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
It is reasonable and responsible, and we don't want to wind up in trouble again. Aye.
Trustee Finerty?
Yes.
Trustee Munoz?
Yes.
Trustee Ryan?
I have to agree with trustee Desmond. It would be irresponsible if what we just went through to do anything less than this. As much as I don't want to raise any taxes, we have to make sure the district is properly funded. So I'm going to vote yes.
Trustee Velado?
Yes.
Vice President Wilbeck?
Yes.
President Broderick?
As I said last month, I just want to thank the board once again for all the work they did. Of course, Mr. Smith in the business office for all the hard work they did, and Superintendent Wanko in central office, and all our administrators who had to come in up with a budget on a zero base, a brand-new style that wasn't easy to do, but they rose to the occasion. This budget gives us the ability to get some new programs in that are desperately needed. We're forced with certain things such as tax increases from healthcare and that type of thing. We're going to do some good work with some K-2 things, and gives us a chance to negotiate with all the groups that we have to negotiate with right now. So I say yes.
Okay. Resolution D2 is tabled. So that concludes the business for this evening, but I do have some cards. How about we start with our student representatives? I'll ask Victor Lazaro from Bayonne High School to please come up first.
Good evening, Board of Trustees, Intern Superintendent Dr. Wongo, Assistant Superintendent Mr. Kopaz, Assistant Superintendent Dr. Degman, and Assistant Superintendent Mr. Smith. Muhammad Gandhi once said, "Be the change that you wish to see in the world." Winter spring has finally arrived, and so does our school events. On May 23rd, 2018, the student government will be hosting our annual Powder Puff event. Powder Puff freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors, in which girls place as the football players, boys cheers as cheerleaders, and the teachers act as coaches. This event will be open to the public, and it was a huge success from last year. The Bayonne mayoral elections are around the corner, and not only the residents will be voting, but as well as students, and the student body will be voting for their student representatives. From May 9th to May 16th, you will be seeing students from the student body campaigning for their positions that they've requested by covering the walls of VHS with their posters and flyers. On May 17th, they will read their speeches, and the student body will vote for their new representatives. Then on June 4th, the new student body will swear in their new student officials. And on that same date, the student government will host a Bayonne Leadership Conference with the elementary students to work on their practices of leadership and skills. Since I'm on the topic of elections, I'd like to announce that this shall be one of my last board meetings as a student body representative. By next year, new student representative will introduce him or herself to you on September of the next school year. But before I go, I'd like to tell you where I will be heading after high school. Back of January of 2018, right after New Year's, I decided to take a new chapter in my life into my adulthood. I've decided to enlist in the United States Army Reserves as a patrol and supply specialist. My ship date will be on July 9th, and I won't return from training until December. From there, I'll be attending from Rutgers University in Newark, New Jersey, where I'll be continuing studying in the field of political science and someday hold office after my law enforcement career. But there's something I have to address. Recently, a student from Bayonne High School named Armand Mozampoy has been diagnosed with a form of lung cancer. The extent of the cancer seems severe. However, he will be undergoing further tests, examinations, and treatment immediately. Armand is a police explorer, as well as a Boy Scout, swimmer of the Bayonne High School, and a most vigilant and kindest student I've ever met. While Armand has confrontedly faced extremely tough obstacles in the past, he needs our help to combat this fight with cancer. So please, keep Armand and his family in your thoughts. Stay strong, Armand. Thank you.
Meetings you've attended, you keep us well informed. I'm very proud of you that you're joining our military, and I know you're going to be a very successful person, and your friend will be in all our prayers. Thank you.
Daniel, you want to?
I want the last possible.
It is last. Next to last.
Hello, everybody. My name is Daniel Isaac. I'm a freshman, not for long though. And I'm sorry. And last meeting I talked about teacher contracts. This meeting I have an idea, and I don't think no man to think of for generations to come. You know how like we have doors on the sides and people go to the ice rink, whether it's whether it's going to ice skating or whatever phys ed classes. I know it sounds crazy, but you know how we have bridges in House 4 and House 5? Sounds crazy, I know it's a lot of money and stuff, but what if we connect 2 other bridges from the building to the ice rink? That way, students don't have to go outside, let's say if it's raining outside, things like that, it would be maybe a better idea. I was thinking about it, I was, hesitating whether to say it or not, but maybe that would be, a better idea. Be safer. You don't have to, worry about doors jamming or this and that, and it would solve a safety hazard. Example, students could be switching class to class. Example period 2, there'd be trucks coming, cars like that through the parking lot. So I was like, what if that was a good idea? I was thinking about it, but maybe I said to talk with you guys first, see how it is. And the second thing,
Can I address the first thing first?
yes.
Okay. It's an excellent idea. I know that because when we first proposed the ice rink, that was my idea, to have it connected. It was knocked down because of budget restraint at the time, but now the world has changed drastically, so we could certainly look at it again.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Wenko. And my second thing is I want you guys to wish me luck. As you know, Victor is going to be leaving, and I'm running for board education representative for next year. Just when you guys let me know, just wish me luck. And that's pretty much it. I know I'm a mess. I kind of woke up late, I was running down a couple blocks, but that's pretty much it. And thank you.
Thank you. Good luck.
Next up, Mr. Wyatt, 301 Maple Avenue, North Plainfield, New Jersey.
Well, I was going to address my remarks to the board lawyer, but I see that I can't do that. I can only address my questions to Mr. Broderick. Now, I have a question. When you're answering my questions, does that count on my 3 minutes?
Yes.
Okay, then I won't get very far. Mr. Broderick, did you and your fellow board members take an oath of office when you took office?
Yes.
Does that oath mention the Constitution of the United States of America?
I believe, yes, it does.
Do you know what it says you're affirming that you're going to do?
Abide by the rules and.
No, it says you will,
Sure you
you
will.
affirm to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States of America. Okay?
All right, thank
And I presume you all, since you're adults and had civics classes, you're familiar with the Constitution of the United States and the first 10 amendments. Among those things are the freedom of speech, the right to not to incriminate yourself, the right to a jury trial, to a fair trial, the right to due process, which is the most important one. So my question is, why do you deny that to members of this community? Why do you deny them the right to express themselves? First place, you limit them to 3 minutes. You can't do anything in 3 minutes. And plus, every time I get up here and try to say something, I get shut down.
You get shut down after 3 minutes.
No, I got shut down last time because I was saying things you didn't like.
If it's not appropriate and
Yeah,
it's
but you're the ones that
disrespectful-
determine what's appropriate.
No, well, there is a line.
What's the line then?
The line is to be respectful and express your opinion, and that's what you're free to do.
But I wasn't
You're
allowed
not-
to express my
You're not free to
opinion.
come up here and depose the board either and ask them about their oath of office and whatnot. You can tell them what you believe their oath of office is as a public, as a member of the public. and
Well,
you can
all
express
I
your
want to do is
opinion.
make sure that they actually did that. I don't want to accuse them of not following the values of our country without knowing that they willingly and knowingly said those things, because I was sitting here when they took the
Okay, so that we
oath
don't
of
cut
office.
you off, why don't you just tell them what you want to tell them? And
I'm
move
asking
forward.
a question. Why do you suppress?
They don't suppress it.
Yes,
The
they
answer is-
do.
Well, then that's your opinion, so you can express your opinion as to why you believe that, and that's it. You're not gonna get an answer to
I
that question,
believe
because the
that-
answer is they don't suppress the public.
Yes,
right
they
to
do.
speak. All right,
No
you can
one
express
has,
your opinion.
I've submitted my letters twice. I still have no answer. Okay? I have no answers to those letters.
That is absolutely not true. You did get an answer. It might not be the answer you liked, but the board did respond to your last
My
correspondence.
last correspondence, I'm
Excuse
talking.
me, to your last correspondence that was accepted into the minutes. I could go back and find out what meeting.
No, that's not
And
what
I think unfortunately, we are past 3 minutes. Any other questions? Not hearing anything, is there a motion?
All motion, second.
And is there a second? There's a motion by trustee Cruden, there's a second by trustee Desmond on that motion, and second to adjourn, trustee Alonso.
Aye.
Trustee Cruden.
Aye.
Trustee Desmond.
Aye.
Trustee Finnerty.
Yes.
Trustee Munoz.
Yes.
Trustee Ryan.
Yes.
Trustee Bellato. Vice President Wilbeck. President Broderick.
Yes.